Saturday's expected outcome against Kent State, another blowout. So let's do a top 5 Thursday. 5 players on offense, 5 players on defense that we want to see ball out. All that and more. It's your Thursday Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into it, your Thursday morning edition here of Locked On Vols. I am your host, Eric Kane. A big shout out over to FanDuel Sportsbook for being a part of the show. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to go ahead and get started today. We got a lot to get into here today. I mean, again, there's not much preview for this football game. I understand if you're a player, if you're a coach, respect the opponents. We're going to respect the opponents here, but we're going to call it like it is. Respect the opponents. Don't overlook the opponents. But we're fans. We're media. We are, we're not in that locker room, so we can do whatever the heck we want to, right? Tennessee, that spread has climbed up as far as Wednesday afternoon to it's climbed up to, had it written down. It has climbed up to 49.5 with the total at 62.5 according to FanDuel Sportsbook. So it is going to be a blowout. With that being said, 5 players on each side of the football that we want to see ball out. Plus, later on in the show, we'll take a look at the ESPN FBI. We'll dive down deep into that. Some of the teams that are ahead of Tennessee. Spoiler, not many. And what if I told you that Tennessee's defense leads the nation in something? That's coming up here on a Thursday Locked On Vols. So 5 players in an expected blowout that I want to see shine on offense. This is with the expectation that Tennessee goes in, handles business, and gets their starters in, gets them some work, and then late in the first half, or certainly for the entire second half, you pull the majority of your starters, and hopefully in the first quarter or first half, Tennessee's coaching staff will start rotating in a lot of those experienced veterans, some of those young guys with the experienced veterans, and kind of have a mixture in there as well. I will say this, and this is something that Grant Ramey, we recorded earlier this morning. We recorded part of our game day podcast over at VolQuest.com, and he said, one thing's for certain, I do not want to see Nico Iamaleava out there behind with some backup offensive linemen. Because against Chattanooga, there was a certain play where Larry Johnson, I believe, was at left tackle, and Nico got hit and kind of rolled up on a little bit. I'm 100% I'm on board with that. Have Nico out there with Cooper Mays. Have Nico out there with the starters at tackle that play, including Dane Davis, because he plays an awful lot. But having said all that, here's some guys that I want to ball out. We'll first start on offense. Chris Brazzell is a starting wide receiver in this offense. He actually leads the team in receptions right now. Might not know that because Tennessee spreads the wealth aerially right now. I think he's got 8 receptions, and I think Squirrel White might have 7. But nonetheless, he's coming in here, and everybody's pleased with what he's doing. I want him to find the end zone. Okay, I want Chris Brazzell to find the end zone. Dante Thornton had the massive week 1. Of course, it was Dylan Sampson. It was the defense that told the story. Miles Kitselman as well in week 2. Chris Brazzell, sure, he might not have 4 or 5 receptions because I don't anticipate him playing an awful lot in the grand scheme of things, but I want Chris Brazzell to find the end zone. That's a playmaker that Tennessee's going to need all year long, and I want him to get that first touchdown under his belt. So number 1, Chris Brazzell. Number 2, give me Peyton Lewis. You guys know I'm so high on Deshaun Bishop. I'm so pumped to watch him because, again, I've seen his career dating back to his freshman year at Carnes High School. I'm so pleased with how he's doing and competing and giving something for Tennessee this year. Cam Seldon, he missed last week. If he passes protocol, looks like he'll get in there and play some. But how much will Cam Seldon play in this game? I don't know. He's your RB2 when healthy. Dylan Sampson should go in there and get some run, but Dylan Sampson shouldn't play an awful lot in this game, in my opinion. So that leads a lot of snaps for Deshaun Bishop, for Peyton Lewis, for Khalifa Keith, and for some of those walk-on running backs. I'm pumped with what Deshaun Bishop's doing so far. I want to get Peyton Lewis going. Number 1, because sure, you can never have enough running backs, and there was a point in time in not so distant past in 2021 where against Ole Miss, Tennessee was playing a walk-on running back because the numbers were so thin. Going into the season last year, we thought the numbers were thin at running back. You just never know. You never know if you might need Peyton Lewis, but Peyton Lewis is going to be a player in this offense down the line, and I want to see him have a big day against a very, very inferior opponent. I want to see Peyton Lewis find the end zone. I want to see Peyton Lewis get some confidence. I want to see Peyton Lewis carry the football 10-plus times. So that's a guy that I want to see ball out. Number 2 is running back Peyton Lewis. Number 3, offensive tackle Bennett Warren. Bennett Warren was the highest rated offensive tackle for the class of 2024 that's here on campus right now. He was not an early enrollee, so he missed spring practice. He was playing catch-up in the summer. He was playing catch-up in fall camp. But from a size perspective, he was always kind of bigger, and they wanted him to lose a little bit before he got on campus, and he did that. He showed up in good weight, and I think he's going to have a nice future down the line at tackle. We know about David Sanders coming into the next class and everything, but you can never have too many tackles. Right now, you're actually kind of thin at tackle. Bennett Warren's not going to play a role in this football team. Bennett Warren will redshirt. In fact, there's a reason some backups played in that blowout win against NC State, and some backups did not. The backups that played in that game either are not redshirting this year. The plan is to not redshirt, or they've already redshirted. That's why you saw Brian Grant play a little bit of tackle instead of Jesse Perry instead of Bennett Warren, because Brian Grant's already redshirted. But this is one of those games on the schedule where you will play literally everybody who's in uniform. You will literally play everybody who's available, because this is one of those games that you're going to count on those guys who are going to redshirt, who can play in 4 games. This will likely be one of those 4 games. So I want to see Bennett Warren. He played a little bit, I want to say, left tackle against Chattanooga. I want to see him get, 10, 15 snaps. It'd be great if he got 20 snaps. I'm intrigued to kind of break down and see what Bennett Warren does, and I think that he's going to get a whole lot of run in this football game. Number 4, you guys know me, I'm going to cheat. 2 players, Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley. I put them together because both of those guys came on as early enrollees. Both of those guys at separate moments in spring practice really was the story, right? I mean, Braylon Staley was one of the stories there early on in spring practice as being a guy that's like, okay, this guy can play. And then, of course, the way Mike Matthews finished spring practice, catching a touchdown in every scrimmage that they did, really thought that he was going to be in the wide receiver rotation. But during fall camp, he's sidelined for a couple of weeks, a minor injury. He was available last week, but they didn't play him. Just wanted to make sure that he's 100% right. And Braylon Staley as well. He was available last week, but I don't believe he played. So I want to see those 2 guys go out and ball out. Again, in a game that's a blowout, expect those guys to rotate in and expect those guys to eat stat-wise in a game where I think Tennessee is going to put up a whole lot of points. And number 5, very similar to number 3, let's go back to the offensive tackle spot. Let's go to Jesse Perry. Jesse Perry came into college as an early enrollee from an offense in high school that didn't pass the football an awful lot. So he had to learn pass pro. He had to learn even more. The learning curve was even steeper, I feel like, than other early enrollees. And he did a fantastic job. Number 1, he looks good in terms of he's put on some really, really good weight. He looks like a football player. And he's a guy that I think can really help Tennessee down the line, whether it's going to be a tackle, maybe interior down the line. He's a guy that the coaching staff really, really likes. But he'll redshirt this year. But just like Bennett Warren, he's one of those guys that should play in this football game on Saturday. So Tennessee, starters get in, starters get out, but keep the pedal to the metal. When your backups are in, run your offense. That's what Josh Heupel does. It's not running up the score when you have your 2s and your 3s in. They deserve to play. They deserve to eat as well. And so I'm really intrigued to see Chris Brazzell get off to a good start, find the end zone, then sit down. Peyton Lewis, Bennett Warren, Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, and Jesse Perry. Those are my top 5, we'll call it 6 here, of players on offense that I want to see ball out on Saturday in the expected blowout against Kent State. We talked offense here. Let's go to defense in segment number 2. That's coming up next, and we continue on here with a Thursday edition of Locked On Vols. Fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always find the time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. I am always on the go. It is my busiest time of the year, game weeks, Monday through Thursday, really. And I'm always on the go, going to practice, going to press conferences, going to studio, all that type of stuff. So these meals for Factor are perfect for me. 2 minutes, they are so good, they're nutritious, and you got over 35 different meal options, 60 add-ons to choose from every single week. You can crush your wellness goals this fall, ready for football season. They've got delicious breakfasts, desserts of the day, all that and more over at Factor Meals. So listen to this deal. Head on over to factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50. Use the promo code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next month. That code again is LockedOnCollege50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 for 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next month with your subscription active. All that and more is over at factormeals.com. And of course, FanDuel Sportsbook, it is America's #1 sportsbook. We'll have something a little bit different for you right now. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with your YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. And if that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app and use it for FanDuel's Double Your Winnings for all of Sunday, September 15th, pregame moneyline bets. Profit Boost will be live starting Thursday, today. View your accounts and learn more about your boost. Visit FanDuel.com. Download it today. FanDuel.com is America's #1 sportsbook. All that and more. It's at FanDuel where you can make every single moment more. We talked offense in segment 1. Now let's get to the defensive side of the football. Again, Kent State 0-2. They haven't won a game against an FBS opponent since 2022. Lost 55-22 at Pittsburgh in week 1. Lost to FCS St. Francis at a home last week, 23-17. This is not a good football team. Hopefully they respond and they get better and they win some games this year, but it's not going to happen on Saturday. So the expectation, and FanDuel has it as a very, very lofty expectation of a line that is 49.5 with a total at 62.5. Expectations a blowout for Tennessee. So in that regard, who are 5 guys that maybe not be a part of the regular rotation that I want to see ball out on defense? Number 1, Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith, Caleb Perry was out against NC State, okay? Jalen Smith stepped in, got about 20 reps, about 17 to 20 snaps, and I thought he performed really, really well. He's a guy that was an absolute tackle machine. I believe he was from Grayson High School in Georgia. An absolute tackle machine. When he got here, stiff hips, wasn't playing well out of the box. He's an in-the-box linebacker, but he's put in the work, man. He looks quicker. He looks not like a fish out of water when he's outside of the box, and I'm rooting for him. He's one of those guys that just stays the course, and then you continue to work hard. Oftentimes you're going to find the field, and that's what Jalen Smith did on last week on Saturday. You know, he redshirted last year, and towards the end of the season, whenever, you know, he already reached that, you know, there's less than 4 games left and he hadn't played in any. He played a little bit against Vanderbilt. He played a little bit against Iowa in the bowl game when those games don't count, and I thought he performed really, really well. So Jalen Smith, this is an opportunity for him to go and play really, really well at the linebacker position, and I think if he continues to come along, then he can be a part of that rotation, the regular rotation at linebacker on defense. So number 1, Jalen Smith. Number 2, we'll stay at linebacker. Give me Edwin Spillman. Edwin Spillman's been sidelined the first couple weeks of the season due to a quad. I don't know if he's going to be ready to go for Saturday, but if he is available, I want to see him play some defense. From Lipscomb Academy, really, really good prospect. We know his story in spring practice. He was a mid-semester enrollee, so they started spring practice like 2 days in. Him and Caleb Beasley came, and then they were on the practice field that day or, whatever, getting acclimated and doing practice. And, where Caleb Beasley unfortunately got hurt as soon as he got here on campus, Edwin Spillman put in that work, and he, was learning the defense and learning the system and learning how to practice. He was going a million miles an hour, didn't know an awful lot, but again, he was working hard and going a million miles an hour. He's got those traits that I think are going to show up, and he's going to be a really good linebacker here. Won't be a part of the rotation this year, but he will be moving forward next year, and he will be playing on special teams when healthy. So I just want to see Edwin Spillman play. He's a really, really good prospect, and unfortunately he's been sidelined, or he would have definitely got in playing some linebacker in the first 2 games, and he would have certainly played some special teams as well. So hopefully Edwin Spillman's ready to go, and if he is, then he comes in at number 2 on my list at linebacker. Number 3 is Jordan Ross, and why not? 5-star freshman, was not an early enrollee, came in the summer, Under Armour All-American, on 3 5-star, all that and more. He is a first 5 guy off the bus. He looks the part, where Caleb Herring had to put on a ton of weight, and James Pierce has had to put on a ton of weight, and Joshua Josephs has had to put on a ton of weight. Jordan Ross showed up here, weighing about 245, thick, solid. And again, down the line, I think he's going to be a very, very good player for Tennessee. Already blocked a punt, scoop and score touchdown against Chattanooga. He got in and did some things against NC State. So, Jordan Ross, he's kind of buried on that depth chart at Leo right now, and that's okay. Young guy, But this is a game where he can go out and just absolutely dominate on pure athleticism because he might be the most athletic player on the field when he sets foot on the field. So Jordan Ross is number 3. Number 4, give me Edrees Farooq, safety. I think he was a 3-star in this class. Maybe On 3 had him as a 4-star, but nobody really talked about him a lot. Comes downhill and hits you. And probably one of the biggest hits in the NC State game was when he went in the football game, and gosh, I felt like we heard it, all the way in the press box. I know the crowd mic's a thing, but man, he laid the lumber. I mean, Tennessee's up 52-10. He comes in the football game and he's laying the lumber. That's why, again, it's never take your foot off the pedal, right? If you're a coach, never not try to run up the score. Why? And that might sound harsh, and I'm sure I'll get some comments here, but your backups deserve it. They practice every single day. If you are running your offense and you are scoring at will with your 3s and your 4s, stop it. That's not on you. And so, like, when Edrees Farooq came in and he was playing so hard, came up with that big hit, that's kind of what that's kind of an example I want to point to. Like, hey, these guys want to play too, and they deserve to play when given the situation of a blowout. So, Edrees Farooq, I do not believe he will, factor in at safety at all this year. However, if he gets in there and plays 30 snaps on Saturday and does really, really well, maybe he'll start getting some more looks in practice, and then maybe that'll turn into something. Of course, he's playing on special teams right now as well. I do not believe he's going to be a redshirt. So Edrees Farooq is a guy that I want to see some more of at safety on Saturday. And then number 5, give me Jordan Matthews. There is a drop-off, just like at safety. There is a drop-off from that top 3. Okay, you've got Jamal McCoy, who's playing really, really well. You've got Ricky Gibson, who got back into the swing of things last weekend. You got Jalen McMurray. And then after that, there's a drop-off. Jordan Matthews is that number 4 cornerback, but he needs to make up some ground, in my opinion. And against UTC, he did a couple of things that were good. He had some recovery speed on some and, broke up a pass and all that. But I want to see a better performance out of Jordan Matthews this week than I did against UTC. And really, we can throw Caleb Beasley in that conversation that was all over the place against UTC, running a million miles an hour and making a ton of mistakes, learning experience. But I want to see a lot more from Jordan Matthews in this football game because he should have ample opportunities. And an expected blowout, all these guys should get extended playing time. I want to see Jalen Smith, Edwin Spillman, those 2 linebackers. I want to see Jordan Ross at Leo, Edrees Farooq at safety, and Jordan Matthews at cornerback. I want to see those guys ball out and continue to give Tennessee some great depth that it surely needs. Hey, when we come back, let's look at the ESPN College Football Power Index. Where's Tennessee? How many teams are ranked ahead of Tennessee? How bad is Kent State? What is Tennessee leading the nation in right now? And we'll look around the SEC at the slate coming up this football weekend. All that and more when we come back here on Locked On Vols. I want to say about our friends over at LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you've got to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just like any other job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're truly looking in the wrong place. 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. Hire a professional like a professional on LinkedIn. Join the other 2.5 million small businesses who are using LinkedIn for hiring. If you're not, why not? Post your job for free over at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That is linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And back to Team Ticker. Team Ticker is a one-of-a-kind sports sign for your college fans. Team Ticker is a 1.5 by 2 foot wall sign featuring the Power T logo that is a cool retro-looking LED display. If you guys are watching on YouTube right now, you see over my left shoulder, it's showing the top 25 right now. It's really, really cool. They update that with stats throughout the week as well. The display is updated daily with fresh content such as the countdown to the next game, schedules, standings, stats, and news. It's a super fun way and a great way to stay connected with your Tennessee Volunteer sports. The combination of design, the function gives you an entertaining, creative way to display your team pride and to have the best thing in your man cave. Keep up with football, Tennessee men's and women's basketball, baseball, soccer, softball, all that Team Ticker has you covered. Plus, Never miss a game as high-tech retro display provides countdown to the next big game as well, with daily updates, news, stats, and so much more. So, Team Ticker is a one-of-a-kind sports sign. Again, you're seeing it right here on YouTube. You guys have all asked me about it. It is really, really neat. I've gotten a ton of compliments on it, and you can as well. Go to teamticker.com, put in the promo code Locked On to receive $50 off your Team Ticker purchase. Locked On, promo code Locked On at teamticker.com to receive $50 off your Team Ticker purchase. All right, guys, welcome back into your Thursday edition of Locked On Vols. We've had a top 5 on offense, top 5 on defense type of day. If you guys want to see anybody else I really didn't mention in there, please fill out those comments at _Kane or at Locked On Vols on the YouTube channel. Let me know who you want to see ball out in this game. That the Neylands, according to the record book, okay, I looked this up earlier this week because somebody asked on the VolQuest podcast, the scoring record at Neyland Stadium in the modern era, I guess, so it goes back it only shows to 1937, is 70 points scored against Louisiana Monroe back in 2000. Tennessee scored 69 against UTC. I wholeheartedly believe Tennessee can break that record at Neyland Stadium. Now, Tennessee has scored more than 70 points. In fact, they scored over 100 against Carson Newman back in like 1911. They've scored over 100 against University of Cumberland, but those games weren't at Neyland Stadium. And so, according to the modern era record book, 70 points is a high total. And I believe Tennessee can do it this weekend. I truly, truly do. So, it's going to be an expected blowout, but obviously it's going to be a fun time to watch if you're a Tennessee fan over at Neyland Stadium, getting you set for Kent State. But of course, Oklahoma is on that horizon. We got so much to get into next week in preparation for the Sooners and the Volunteers and all that Josh Heupel going home talk. Get ready for it. Look over at the College Football Power Index. So we discussed on yesterday's show, or maybe it was 2 days ago, where Kent State was according to the Football Power Index. And if you missed the show the other day, I'll show you here. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll share my screen. It's not good. It's not good at all. Look at that Football Power Index here up front. It's Kent State record number 134. Number 134 in the country. Out of 134 FBS opponents, Kent State is ranked last in the Football Power Index. They have a FBI rating of minus 24.3. What does the FBI rating mean? Well, it measures the team's true strength on net point scale, expected point margin versus average opponent on a neutral field. So Kent State, in that circumstance, already down 3 touchdowns and a field goal. They have a 0.2% chance to win 6 games, 0% chance to win their conference, 0% chance to make the playoffs, make the national championship game, and win the national championship. So Kent State, Tennessee's next opponent, is considered the worst team in America, according to the ESPN Football Power Index in FBS. You look over here at Tennessee. Tennessee's ranked 5th right now, according to ESPN's FBI. Tennessee's rating is 21.8. Again, it measures the team's true strength on net point scale, expected point margin versus average opponent on a neutral field. So in those circumstances, Tennessee's getting 3 touchdowns right out of the gate. That is how good this model believes Tennessee is. Tennessee is currently ranked 5th, according to the FBI. Tennessee's projected win total, according to ESPN's FBI, is 9.8 wins to 2.4 losses. So if you round, up and then down, this model believes Tennessee has a very good chance to finish the regular season with a record of 10-2. Okay, 3.2% chance to win out. Of course, there's some big games on the schedule at Oklahoma in 2 weeks, or week after Saturday, week and a half from now. At home against Alabama, on the road against Georgia, of course. It gives Tennessee a 99.8% chance to win 6 games. Okay, yeah. It gives Tennessee a 0% chance to win the division. What the heck? Why a 0% chance to win the division? Because there are no divisions in the SEC this year. Did I get anybody? Okay, it's a new time. Remember, no divisions. The East and the West are gone. It gives Tennessee a 9.5% chance to win the SEC. I feel like that's a little low, but about 10%. It gives Tennessee a 64.9% chance of making the college football playoff. That's a stat you need to remember right now. Entering week 3 of the season, based on what Tennessee's done in week 1 against UTC and week 2 against NC State, the ESPN FBI model is giving Tennessee a 64.9% chance of making the college football playoff. Now, Tennessee's got to go out there and handle business. That's a pretty big number. That is a pretty big number. It's given Tennessee a 13.5% chance of making the national championship game, and it's given Tennessee a 6.8% chance of winning the 2024 college football playoffs. Wow. It's pretty cool, isn't it? I think that's really, really cool. The FBI right now loves them some Tennessee, and deservedly so. There's no reason to not love Tennessee right now because of what Tennessee is doing. The teams ranked in front of Tennessee right now at number 4 is Ohio State. At number 3 is Alabama. At number 2 is Georgia. And at number 1 is Texas. Now, Georgia and Texas, they're going to play each other here in a few weeks, and so that'll, jockeying some of those guys. Alabama, of course, has some tough games on the schedule this year. Ohio State's got a tough one at the end of the year. Well, how tough will it be this year? Tennessee's got some tough ones throughout. Ole Miss is there at number 6. Ole Miss's schedule is really, really weak. Missouri's schedule is really weak. Missouri's schedule is very weak. They're at number 9. Let's see, what other SEC teams should we highlight? Oklahoma's there at number 15. Texas A&M is at number 19. LSU is at number 20, according to the FBI. Look at this number right here. Well, don't look. Just listen to me. According to the efficiencies inside the FBI, Tennessee has the 3rd best overall efficiency rating in college football. Net efficiency is on a scale of 0 to 100. Incorporates offense, defense, and special teams efficiency into a single schedule-adjusted measure of per-play efficiency. I know those are a lot of numbers right there. But essentially, it takes offense, it takes defense, it takes special teams, third, okay? And it puts it into one efficiency rating. And according to ESPN's Football Power Index, Tennessee has the 3rd best efficiency rating in America at 96.4. The only teams ahead of Tennessee, Ole Miss, who I think is going to be pretty good, at 96, and Texas leading the way at 97.5. Okay? Tennessee's offensive efficiency rating through 2 weeks is at number 16th in the nation. I expect that to go up considerably as the year goes on. Listen to this, guys. Tennessee's defensive efficiency rating is at 97.7, number 1 in the country. How they measure this? Well, defensive efficiency is on a scale of 0 to 100 based on defense's contribution to scoring margin on per-play basis, adjusted for strength of opposing offenses faced. Tennessee so far has the number 1 defensive efficiency rating in college football, and it's at 97.1. 97.1. Special teams efficiency rating so far, 53.4. That ranks 70th in the country. So what Tennessee's doing so far is pretty good. Now the schedule, the talent on the schedule and the quality of competition, it's only going to get higher, especially after this week. Oklahoma road game, that'll be a tough one, even though I know Oklahoma didn't look too good against Houston. We'll dive into all that after this week, I promise you. But then you come back home, have a bye week, you go back on the road to Arkansas. I don't think that's going to be super easy, but that should be a game that Tennessee wins. Then you come home. Got Florida, got Alabama, got Kentucky, play Mississippi State somewhere in there, got UTEP somewhere in there, Georgia it's on the away, and then of course you end the season away at Vanderbilt as well. So Tennessee's doing a really, really good job right now. And I expect the efficiency numbers and the rankings and everything to stay kind of where they are whenever Tennessee beats Kent State, albeit very weak competition. But if Tennessee's going to run that score up with the backups, which it should, and if Tennessee's going to win in style the way that I think it will, then I don't think any of those numbers are really going to change. Last thing I want to do before we say goodbye, I want to take a look quickly around the SEC schedule for this upcoming weekend. Couple of duds. Tennessee, Kent State certainly is going to be a dud, but a couple of good ones as well. Alabama's going to Camp Randall. Going to play Wisconsin on the road. That's really, really cool. I mean, Alabama should handle them. Alabama, I believe, is a 16-point favorite. But those are the type of matchups that I think are cool. And those are the type of matchups I'm looking forward to with the college football playoff. Alabama at Wisconsin is one I'll be paying attention to. LSU on the road at South Carolina. South Carolina goes on the road last weekend and just beats the crap out of Kentucky. LSU, we all know my thoughts on LSU, but it's still a very talented football team going on the road to South Carolina. Remember, South Carolina didn't really look good against Old Dominion in week 1. LSU is a 7-point favorite on the road. That one's one I'm going to be paying attention to. Low-key, a really solid game, I think, could be Missouri hosting Boston College. Top 25 matchup. Boston College, I like its quarterback. Of course, it took down Florida State in week 1. Missouri's a 17-point favorite right now, but I think that could be a decent one. All eyes, of course, going to be on Oklahoma and Tulane as well. That game's going to be played before Tennessee kicks off at 7:45. Alabama's hosting Tulane. Alabama is a 2-touchdown favorite. But obviously we're going to be watching that because the Sooners are who is next on the schedule. Florida and Texas A&M. If it gets really bad for Florida in this football game, could they make a change on Sunday? I think it's a bit early, but it wouldn't shock me. How much is DJ Lagway going to play? How much is Graham Mertz going to play? What is Florida's on the line of scrimmage? I think A&M will dominate Florida both offensively and defensively. So that game's going to be intriguing. And then you've got some duds, Arkansas, UAB. Ole Miss on the road against Wake Forest. Ole Miss is a 24-point favorite on the road. Texas and UTSA. Vanderbilt is at Georgia State. Kentucky's hosting Georgia. That game will be a dud. The Bulldogs, 24-point favorites on the road. Auburn is hosting New Mexico. Better watch out for that one, Auburn. Mississippi State is hosting Toledo. And, of course, Tennessee is hosting Kent State. Should be a fun weekend of college football. Only get 12 of them. Yes, Saturday should be a dud in terms of competitive juices for Tennessee, but you only get 12 regular season games. And so enjoy it, especially if you're going to Neyland Stadium. All right, that is going to do it here for this edition of Locked On Vols. Can't thank you enough for being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel. Please tell your friends about this show. This is the #1 spot for Tennessee football fans. Weekdays, year-round. I'm every single day. Work day, you'll have a show right here at Locked On Vols. Appreciate you, as always, you everydayers, for making us a part of your morning routine. Let's do it again tomorrow with Boogie Bentley. All that and more is coming up tomorrow on a Locked On Vols.